In this video, you will be receiving an orientation to the Response Advocates portal. We'll start off on the home page. Here, you will find an explanation of what the portal is about and what you can do with it. So, just to give you a brief overview, you can download and submit forms, schedule hotline shifts, access and send information resources to clients anonymously, read up on how to be an advocate, learn about response policies, procedures, and protocols, and find important contact info. So let's jump right in. The site is divided into 4 main sections besides the home page. Those sections are Do Something, Learn Something, Contact Info, and Espanol, the Spanish page. On the Do Something tab, you will find pages where you can take action. On the Schedule Hotline Shifts page, you will find a link to our volunteer spot page where you will be able to schedule your hotline shift. You can put in your email address. Once you're registered on the site, click Next, and you will be taken to a page where you can see all the shifts during the month of, in this case, January, and where help is needed. Just a moment, and I'll point out exactly what that looks like. It's loading. So looks like we've got most days covered in January, but if you go down to January 29th, you can see that we need help on the daytime shift from 7 to 7. So you could click sign up here. Now let's go back to the site and check out the Send a Client information page. On this page, we have links to resources for domestic violence survivors as well as friends and family here, and sexual assault survivors as well as friends and family. On the domestic violence page, we have information about what domestic violence is, its effects, what trauma means, the power and control wheel, the cycle of violence, a general resource handbook that covers a lot of the information that is included in these links and more. We've got a link to information about Colorado law, civil protection orders, and divorce. On the friends and family page, we don't have as many links because we don't receive as many calls from friends and family, but we still have some information about how to help someone you care about and how to take care of yourself as a secondary victim or survivor of domestic violence. Give you a quick peek at the sexual assault page. Here we have a lot of the same sections as the domestic violence page, with a few more. For instance, what does consent look like? How to communicate with law enforcement? What to expect at a criminal trial? We'll hop back over, and now I want to spend just a little bit of time talking to you about how you can actually send some of these links anonymously by using a tool called Anonymouse. It's a play on words, anonymous, Anonymouse. Here, maybe I need to show you to get it. Yeah, see? Here it is. Now let me just show you what it might look like to send a client information anonymously. Say you have a domestic violence client and you want to send them the power and control wheel. You might come back here, copy the link, go back to the anonymous tool on the send a client information page. Here it is. Paste your link here, type your client's email address, or actually I'm going to use my email address so you can see what happens. Subject, power and control wheel, and then say, hey Virginia, here's the power and control wheel we discussed on the phone. Best, Leslie. Send anonymously. So, it confirms that you sent your email, and make sure that you know that in order to increase your privacy, the anonymous email may be randomly delayed up to 12 hours. So when you're setting the expectation with your client that you're going to send them a resource anonymously, just make sure they know that it will be within the next day and not necessarily within the next hour. All right, so that's about it for the Send a Client Information page. Now let's go to the Submit Forms page. Okay, so once it loads up, it will look like this, and this is the page where you will be able to submit your client intake forms to Response. So if you want to do that, you would just put your name in, put your email address in, so that we can reply if we need to and say, hey Response, here is my client intake form from last night's call. Then you would choose File, select your client intake form, attach it, and submit. Once you submit, it will say please wait. And it probably won't take this long. I live out in the country and I have a very slow internet connection. It's abnormally slow today. Yay! Thank you, your submission has been received. So when you submit, the admin@responsehelps.org email address will receive notification that you submitted your form and will receive the form in that email inbox. Next, we have the Download Forms page. And this is where you can actually download all the forms that you'll need as an advocate. The two that are particularly relevant are the client intake form and client log form. You can just click download here and it will pop the document right into your downloads folder. And this will not only allow you to print it off at your house instead of coming to the response office, but you can actually edit the form. So if you want to input information as you're on the phone with your client and then save it and be able to submit it at the link that we just talked about, you can do that. Of course, you can still return a hard copy to Jill, but you have the option to do it electronically. So that is it for the Do Something section. Next, let's move to the Learn Something section. As the name indicates, this is the area of the site where we want you to learn. So we have a Continuing Education Resources section where we provide information about domestic violence, sexual assault, trauma, advocacy, and self-care for you as an advocate. Just to give you an idea of what that looks like, we'll pop into one of the sections. On the Advocacy 101 page, we have the response philosophy where we describe what we believe about advocacy and what we understand about your role of an advocate is under this link. This looks a little different than some of the other pages because we actually copied, we scanned this information from a book and uploaded it. If you want to get back to the Advocacy 101 page, you just click on this link here. We also have information about how to be a good listener, safety planning, do's and don'ts, and advocate competencies and requirements. I'm not going to go through them all right now, but just want to let you know that they have a lot of good information and you should explore them when you get a chance. In addition to the continuing education resources page, we have a policies, procedures, and protocols page. Here we have volunteer policy, info about hotline procedure, the non-discrimination policy, information about mandatory reporting for child abuse, what to do if you receive a jail call or need to see an inmate, confidentiality policy, and shelter procedure. We're not going to go through all these tabs right now, but ones that will probably serve you well right away if you are a new advocate are the hotline procedure links. We describe how to receive calls, how to respond to them, how to block your phone number so you can call anonymously, referring to a support group. And another one that might come in handy is just the general volunteer policy. At least it will come in handy right away. At some point during your tenure as an advocate, you will probably end up looking at all this information. If you at this point are overwhelmed and you're thinking, man, there are too many links, there are too many pages, I'm never going to be able to remember this or find this information when I need it, that's when this search box comes in handy. So if you are overwhelmed with the amount of information on the site and you don't know where to find what you're looking for, you can always come to this box and type in what you need information about. So say you're looking for info about shelter, you type it in and we return all the pages that have that word on them. So let's say you need to find out what, you need to find contact info for a shelter. Click on this link and there you go. You will probably find that the search box is your best friend. Finally, under the Learn Something section, we have the library, or as I like to call it, the attic. And I think this page explains it best as I've typed it already. I say, feeling adventurous, browse our library / attic of resources. This is where we put things that don't fit anywhere else. So if you are feeling adventurous or even bored and you're still wanting to learn something new, come to the library and take a look at the information resources that we have added. We've got old presentations that we've done at advocate trainings. We have information that response staff members sometimes use in our library. And if you as an advocate find a resource that you think is really helpful and you want to share it with others, go ahead and submit it to admin@responsehelps.org and let us know that you think it would be good to place it in the library. Or, of course, you can always use the Submit Forms page to upload or ask us to upload a resource into the library. Okay, now let's move on to the contact info page. Here, we've got contact info for staff. So numbers and emails for each response staff member can be found here. We have contact info for advocates, numbers, email addresses, and the languages spoken. And the reason you might need this information is perhaps if you need to get a shift cover that you scheduled but have to miss for some reason. And you might also need this page if you coordinated with a certain advocate to help a client, but you forgot their number, you need to come and look it up here. Finally, we have the external resources page. Here we have community resources in Aspen, Elgibel, Basalt, Glenwood Springs that we have found useful at one time or another. Civil legal services, children, clothing and household items, court, employment support, food, general assistance, housing, medical, mental health, police, rehab, and shelter for humans and pets are all the categories on this page. And just one more time, want to remind you, if these categories aren't making sense to you, just type the organization that you want to find in. Let's say you want to find the Aspen Youth Center. Type it in. And there you go. Highlighted here. So, don't want to forget the Espanol page, even though it is still under construction. In the coming year, we hope to fill this section with resources to serve our Spanish-speaking clients. So that is it for your orientation to the Response website. If you have questions about the website, you can, or suggestions even, you can email them to admin@responseadvocates.org. If you need help requesting access to the site, we have separate videos for that. So just let us know and we can send you a link.